Full
Yes.
house. Thank you for having us, guys. And James, welcome to the NOAH stage, I believe, first time?
First time I've had the pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, you're in for a treat. Guys, I'm Michael with Eight Roads Ventures. We're a global fund focused on scale-up stage investing, aspiring to partner with the best entrepreneurs in the world. And James, I think, is one of them, right? So, James, why don't we do the following? Maybe tell the guys a little bit about Raft, and then I can ask you a few questions about it.
Sure. So I can introduce myself briefly as well. I'll do that, then introduce who we are as a company. I've got a few slides that I can take us through. And then I know you've got some questions, so we'll go through there. So I'm James. I'm the CEO of Raft. We started just shy of 7 years ago now, so it feels like a tremendous amount of time. And this is who we are. So we are the automated future of freight forwarding. Massive industry, probably one of the industries, I always say it's one of the biggest industry you've probably never heard of to many people, although I suspect everyone in this room would know. It's a $200 billion industry. It's a service industry. It's one of the largest services industries really in the world. And I think if you think about delivering AI to enterprise, this is probably one of the first places you'd start. And I always think if I were to do this again, I'd start right here again. So before we get into that, what is a freight forwarder? So a freight forwarder is a particular type of organization that helps get goods from where they're made to where they're bought. Sounds really simple, but the reality is that it's a lot more complicated. So every container that helps to bring this stuff over and cross borders is incredibly complex, a lot of different stakeholders, and a huge amount of human hand-holding. So every person that you see on this slide here is an interaction between a human and a database, really. So incredibly complex, very much a service industry. You can see why margins are tight for freight forwarders, again, very human-driven. So what does this imply? It implies that the top software suites for freight forwarders really are the likes of Microsoft and Adobe still, so Outlook, Word, Excel, PDF reader. Very much the tools that freight forwarders use for their day-to-day business. So that brings us to Raft. So what are we? So we are an intelligent logistics platform designed to help freight forwarders really thrive in a new world, right? A new world that is rapidly automating. We are one platform that centralizes, organizes, and optimizes essentially all freight data and processes, designed to, and I can't read this text now, and I should have remembered this, but designed to maximize really automation across the life cycle and integrate the tech providers that, or the tech ecosystem that freight forwarders typically use. And our goal is exactly this, right? It's to be the world's best operating system for freight. In terms of where we are today, so is AI impacting freight forwarders today? I think you can kind of go through this list, and really, we're here, right? There's understanding data, consuming really complex data, automating workflows, and so on. But the point is there's a journey, and we're kind of halfway through this journey. And in terms of the stats, the data on what we do, so we're already the world's largest AI-powered operating system for this industry. We touch around 5 million shipments a year. We reconcile, to date, we've reconciled around $10 billion of invoices on our platform. Huge data set, thousands of freight forwarders who are currently using us today. And we touch a lot of industries, right? So freight forwarders are very much in the center of a large network of pretty much every company in the world has to, at some point, interact with a freight forwarder. And we help them manage those relationships as well. So that's in sum what we do as a company. Hopefully that was clear. Any questions that I've missed?
I think it was very straightforward. Question for you, James. So, as investors, you take vertical SaaS, you take AI, that's pretty much any investor's dream, right? And the pattern we usually observe in vertical SaaS is that you have someone who works in the industry, they experienced a problem firsthand, they experienced so many times that they become really frustrated to the point that they leave the company, they start their own company to solve the problem that they experienced, right? Which all sounds good, but that's not what happened in your case. So what was it about freight forwarding logistics that drew you to it, and how have you found your way around the industry?
Yes, so that's not quite us. I didn't grow up in a freight forwarder, kind of cutting my teeth on all of this stuff, right? But I think logistics is one of those industries that's so complex, so big, that no single person has this kind of God view and says this should be better in any specific domain. You kind of have to know different parts of it and come at it from different angles. And so for me, I was involved in commodities and finance and trade finance as well before, so I was always familiar with that piece. And I always looked at it kind of top down rather than bottom up. So what I cared about is, the things around the benefits that trade has, right? The benefits to countries, it lifts a huge amount of people out of poverty. Obviously, there's a lot to be said about general relationships between countries that are the result and the consequence of trade. Brexit is a very clear example of the frictions that poor trade processes can cause. So it started with this top-down view and this kind of more economic view. But the beauty, I think, of this position, what we do is that you have to kind of zoom in and out. So we can have this high-level, overall top-down view, but also we get into the detail. And that's really a large part of our moat, is that we address the complexity of this space, and we address it head-on, and that's got us to where we are today.
Got it. What about, anyone who spends any time looking at logistics from a technology investor perspective will quickly come to realize that it's not necessarily an industry known for quick adoption of technology, being leading edge. And I think, you listed some of the tools that they're using, which, let's just say, are not the most exciting ones, visionary ones. How have freight forwarders reacted to AI?
Yeah, well, I think a few things there. So you're right. It's an incredibly old legacy industry. You have to allow them to incrementally change. You can't go in and say, look, I've got this amazing thing that will completely change the way you do things. You have to work with the tools that they use. So that's exactly what we do, right? We work with email, we work with all of these different things, and that's where the benefits of AI really kind of come into it. So there's that piece, and then the rest is it's tried and trusted change management, right? We're a tech company, but you have to know exactly how to deliver this kind of tech to your customer base. And it's easier said than done. There's always resistance. You have to find the right champions. You have to do the hard work to make sure you get the adoption. And it is difficult. But I fundamentally believe that the way we do and what we do is how every single freight forwarder will run their business within 3 to 5 years. No question.
Nice. Do you think, what we really liked about the product you guys have built is that it's really a general platform upon which you're using working industry-specific workflows, right? So you now focused on freight forwarding. Fast forward 5 years from now, do you think you guys will go beyond that, or is there so much to do that this is going to keep you busy for quite some time?
Yeah, it's a huge industry, as I said. The leading players in this space are large TMSs that are $20 billion businesses. So, by any measure of success, that's a successful outcome, I'm sure, for you guys. Clearly, I think what I love about our business, we're a vertical platform, right? We're a vertical SaaS. It means that you need to really get into the detail and really understand exactly what your customers need and when and what they need. And the depth is so deep. There's so much to do. So I think in answer to your question would probably be a bit of a hedged answer. I think now really understanding this business deeply is definitely the thing to do. The goal is to then, if we can take those learnings and extrapolate that to other adjacent industries, I think that makes sense. But there's enough problems in this world today.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you very much. And guys, thanks for having us.
Thank you.